Well, hello, NAWBO sisters, and welcome. My name is Paula D'Amico, the owner and creator of Blessings by Nature and Paula D'Amico Productions. I'm the immediate past president of the Buffalo Niagara chapter, and so happy to bring back to you again this year as we start a new season together, the Monday Member Spotlight. And today, joining me is the infamous Gwendolyn Bork. Gwendolyn, it's so nice to see you. Gwen, as so many of us lovingly call you. You know, a lot of us have seen you, Gwen, at all of our meetings. There is certainly a level of camaraderie and sisterhood when we see you. But, you know, maybe people don't know exactly what the Queen City Collaborative is all about. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
I love you, Paul, and thank you for having me. And hello, my NAWBO sisters. So Queen City Collaborative is more or less my consulting company that merges my experience as a financial advisor along with years and years of developing and founding non-for-profit. So my mission is to unite the needs of the world, one person, one community at a time, and to heal the earth using impact strategies. So being in the non-for-profit world and understanding finance, I know all about impact strategies and what that means. And it goes anywhere from social impact to cultural impact to environmental impact. And really what that boils down to, feeding the hungry, creating clean air, clean water, helping those, in impoverished situations, and just rising even women up into levels of, leadership. So that's my passion. I love it. And I've merged my experience, like I said, in finance and not-for-profit to help other business owners create that type of story and that narrative in their business and their community.
Well, that sounds amazing. Let's go back to those two words, impact strategy. So now you just gave us a lot of information. How would you define impact strategy?
So, right, I'll use an example. My current non-for-profit that I'm in right now is president of Focus for Community Unity and Support. We are currently funded by the CDC through a grant through the White House Office of Drug Control Policy. And they want to know that if they're going to grant you X amount of dollars, that money that they're investing really into your organization is going to have some sort of impact, that it can be measured. How many people did you help? How many, houses did you build, for the homeless, right? So impact really relates to measuring some sort of success for whatever your strategy is within that community or that organization.
Well, that sounds like a big undertaking when you say impact strategist. So, and you rattled off like a whole different number of areas that you focus on, right? So,
Sure.
Is there any one particular area that you seem to lean more towards?
Well, I mean, for myself, it's addiction, but I lean that way more or less because of my own personal story, and addiction affects so many of us because there's many things that affect us. So it can be broken relationships, domestic violence, poverty, just the environment that you're living in. Broken relationships is a big one. Trauma, and it creates this level of where you feel you have to avoid your trauma and you have to go into something to take the pain away. And usually drugs and alcohol is it, right? So I would live that life. I dealt with a lot of trauma, rape, domestic violence, drug abuse, alcoholism. And when I left home at 15, that's where a lot of that happened. I almost died when I was 18 in a car accident. And really, I was pronounced dead at the time. And if I hadn't died and ultimately met God and he showed me what happened to me and told me I had to come back to this life, I wouldn't have a passion to help others seek some sort of hope and purpose for their life amidst maybe some very trying times that they're going through.
Oh my God, Gwen, for you to share your story like that, I'm sure has connected yourself with many of our NAWBO sisters at this point because they didn't know your story. They haven't heard it. And, thank you for being so transparent and sharing your experience with us here on a Monday Member Spotlight. We're so grateful for that. This is a hard time for people battling just about anything from money to addiction to potential homelessness, jobs, all this. I mean, we're still in a pandemic. So, do you feel that now more than ever, what you're doing is truly making a difference in our community?
I do. I feel very blessed to be in this situation. Like, you wonder why you go through things in your life, and you wonder, why me? Why did this happen to me? But it's led to this very moment in time where I have um, the opportunity to affect the path and the future of teens in Western New York. So I currently work with teens in the Lancaster Dubuque community, but I unite and I work with other coalitions is our type of structure as a non-for-profit, who also help teens find their way through right now, which has been one of the hardest things for our youth, our adolescents, to get through. Isolation. They were stripped away from school, which is a protective factor for themselves. They had lost their friends. They lost consistency and structure. Um, it was the and it really still is the very hardest thing for our youth to go through right now. What they've gone through is going to last a long time, and there's a lot of adults and parents that have struggled throughout this process. So yes, very, very fortunate to be living in this time, to understand the times, and to hopefully speak some truth and light into it.
How can we, because I mean, just hearing that makes me want to volunteer, makes me want to do something. So how can I do something? How can some of our NAWBO sisters do something? How can anybody that's watching this do something?
Sure. And I guess that's the goal of Queen City Collaborative. It's a collaboration. It's collaborating together with other like-minded individuals to find a solution to a problem. So I know some of our NAWBO sisters, they like to clothe kids in the night, right? So they collect coats, and they make sure that kids who are living on the streets or in bad situations have hats and gloves and jackets. That alone is something to help, right? Or if you know that food pantries in your area they need food, the food, everything, all our basic needs trickle down to our kids. So whether you're helping my organization or you're helping other organizations, find a cause that is close to your heart and get a hold of the people in the organization and just start working together and figuring it out. I know when I've asked my NAWBO sisters or talked about my organization, we always have ways of figuring out some sort of solutions for what works well with our resources. And it's not even so much money; it could be just time, donating time into helping during events or fundraising or whatever. So find your passion and just go for it. Find an organization. And I say local organizations too, because we're the ones with our boots on the ground, and we see things at a very molecular level. And we're the ones that really do know exactly how to treat the problem.
You talked about taking time to do something. Why don't you just take a moment and let people know how can they connect with you? What's your website? What's a phone number that they can reach out to you if they have questions or they want to help out? They want to dig in. They want to put their boots on the ground for you.
Sure. So it really starts with just a conversation, right? I mean, I can help non for profits formulate their mission and vision a little bit more strategically to align with their centers of influence. Or if you're a business owner, like all of our sisters are in NAWBO, and we have a natural ability to want to give back to our community. Women traditionally give more of their revenue when they're business owners or they're high level C-suite executives. They want to give back to their community. So when women succeed, our community succeeds. So I would say, give me a call, 716-444-6769, 716-444-6769. That's my direct cell. Call me, text me, say, hey, I heard what you had to say. I have this business, and I want to really start strategically thinking about what I'm going to do with a little portion, a little piece of my revenue at the end of the year or throughout the year, engage my employees, engage my customer base to figure out what needs we can take care of in the community. So you can call me. You can go to my website, queencitycollaborative.com, queencitycollaborative.com. Through there, you'll see all about the different processes that we would follow, and you can go right on my contact us form, send me a quick email, and we'll set up a time to really start hashing it out.
Well, I know that I'll be definitely reaching out to you so that we can do something because I really want to. I'm always willing to do something for my community because why not? Because if you've got just a little bit of time, that little bit of time can really make the difference in one person's life, let alone me, others in a whole community, right? Gwen?
100%. Yeah. I mean, during COVID, we really had to move really quickly. We were disengaged from the youth. Youth were taken out of school, like I said, in a safe place for them. They were also then disengaged from their typical resources, their front lines of, mental health services, food services, clothing. So we moved and we mobilized our entire community, and it really is just connecting with others to figure out who needs food, who needs daycare, who needs support, who needs a job, and helping all of us come together really in that moment. And as hard as it was for so many of us, I saw a community in Buffalo, New York, come together stronger than I've ever seen before. And it was like this vision of Queen City Collaborative was living out its full purpose in its entirety. It was a beautiful sight.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. And it's really and I've said it before, as much as the pandemic has been such a difficult time, people have lost loved ones. There's been struggles. Born out of that struggle has been some incredible movements and incredible opportunities and some amazing connections. So on that note, Gwen, you and I have been NAWBO sisters for several years together. We've even traveled to New York City for the Leadership Academy. We've had fun and we've really, hit the ground running, doing some work, learning what NAWBO is all about. Let's talk a little bit about NAWBO. How long has it been since you joined NAWBO? Do you remember? Oh gosh.
Wow, like 4 years? It's been a while. Yeah, I think it's about 4 years.
I think all of us do that. We were like, it seems like a million years ago. How long has it been?
Right.
Over those years, what would you say was one of the most maybe interesting or most fruitful experiences that you've had or connections that you've had?
So, when we all do, we start a business, and that was me starting my own independent wealth management firm as an independent advisor. I wanted to get out there and learn and talk to other groups. And so I personally signed up for Each One Reach One, and it was at the Clarence with Samuel Grand Manor. So I go there and I was scared. Women, you never know how they're going to act, and if they're in competition with each other. But I was sold on that day. We had different courses throughout the day at different tables, so you could constantly changing tables. We had conversations, we had topics to talk about. We had an opportunity to give our elevator pitch every single table. I met dozens of amazing women, and it was on that day that I went as a guest that I decided I am 100% for these women, for these business owners and our community, and I signed up. And it wasn't really too much later that I dove in to be on the board. So Each One Reach One, that is our annual huge event to be able to network and get to know each other, and that's what got me, Paula.
Yeah, Each One Reach One. It is one of our signature events, and I can't remember who it was who I was talking about recently, and they said, "Oh, actually, you know what? I do know who it is." I happened to do an event recently, and one of the vendors there asked how things were going with NAWBO because of the pandemic, and sure, one of her favorite things to do is to come to Each One Reach One. She can't put the time into being a member, but she can put that time into being a part of that event that she finds so much value in, just like the rest of us. And you're right. Going from table to table, you meet all these people, you make these incredible connections, and you have great conversation. And I would have to say, I don't know about you, Gwen, maybe you can speak to this. When you go to a NAWBO meeting and you walk in, first of all, it's always exciting to see everybody. And then after, the power hour and dinner and you hear somebody speak, isn't it incredible when you leave? You're like energized, right?
Oh, 100%. I get energized like the whole day, knowing that I'm going to go there. I'm going to see these just beautiful women inside and out that have families, spouses and causes and so many things that they care about in their business, and they have the time to just like network with each other and help each other and to brainstorm in these like little mini conversations. So I'm so excited all day about it that when I get there, I'm just like giddy, I get to see everybody when we walk in. And I'll say like, for anybody, we know our NAWBO sisters that maybe they can't always, come out all the time, but those meetings on a monthly basis, it's such a sisterhood. It's a support group that you don't normally have in the business world. And I've seen it. I've been in the business world in many different ways, and chambers and boards on chambers and advisory boards of other organizations where this organization is just different. You walk in, there's whether you don't even know anybody, you're close with someone, we bring you right into the fold. Where there's always somebody coming right next to you to say, hey, what's going on? What's your name? I'm so and so. And we just lift you up and we want to know everything about you. And so those meetings to me, they're like, I get excited to be able to see my sisters, meet new friends, and just pour hope and inspiration into our business owners. They're changing the world out there.
Absolutely. Talk about community. I mean, it really is a community, a sisterhood. We talk about it, and it truly is. And it's such a wonderful experience. Let's talk a little bit more about you again, Gwen, and going back to, we were in a pandemic. We were, most of us were, some of us were shut down. I happen to have a business and a career, so and both were actually going, but to juggle that, try to sustain that, and be a mom, because I know you're a mom. It was probably, I'm just going to throw that out there because it wasn't easy for me. How was it for you?
Yeah, it's I think like you, I work really well under pressure. So when that happened, my career, so being an independent advisor, I had already prepared my clients for a potential correction in the market. It was an election year, so thankfully I'd done my due diligence with my investment clients to keep them as protected as possible throughout that time. So that was like thankfully really a burden that I didn't necessarily have to bear. I knew that they were in a good place. We were going to get through it, and they did. They were very successful that year. So immediately it was like, okay, what's my number one priority? And I went full bore into creating two podcasts, one for Queen City Collaborative, where I could find the companies that were doing exactly what Queen City Collaborative wants to help other companies do, which is give back to the community. So I interviewed Black Button Distillery. They pivoted immediately during the pandemic and started making sanitizer, to the point that they started distributing this stuff across the country. It was insane. I interviewed Nick Patello from, Osteria. That, like, this guy, he wasn't going to let his employees like just, go on unemployment and not working. That was his family. So when he had to shut his doors, he started freezing like big meals, like family style meals of lasagna and chicken parm, and people could pick it up right at the door. He was doing delivery, and then if you could buy a pan of lasagna, send it to your grandma on the east side. And then at that, like that, even that, we ended up ordering. I worked for the county legislator, and we ordered hundreds of dollars worth of meals to take it to the food pantry in Depew, who was out of food. People needed food. So like just being able to interview these amazing business owners, Beryl and Brian, I interviewed them, that were really showcasing exactly what Queen City Collaborative is about. Like, it actually helps your business to engage your community and to help. And then at the same time, I started another podcast for my non-profit focus, where I was bringing in and interviewing superintendents, school SROs, mental health counselors, suicide prevention people, to make sure that our kids had the support that they needed, and parents were aware of what's coming down the line so that they could help their kids. Because as you said, I am a mom. I have two teenage boys. My oldest son, his dad died when he was a baby in a car accident. So it's just me and him. And they were my number one priority. So I stayed home. I made sure they were good. I made sure their mental health was good. And then what I saw in them, I I equipped the rest of the community through my connections to make sure that other parents and teens had the same resources.
That's amazing. And you can't say that that didn't energize you too. That kept you going. Sometimes when you fall into that, where you're hearing these incredible stories of how other members of your community are stepping up and they're paying it forward. And then when you walk away after having a simple conversation with them, you're like, gosh, that's so amazing. And it's so uplifting and inspiring.
Oh, 100%. There's two ways to look at life, and there's the lack, or the insufficiencies or the worry and the fear, or there's looking at the positive and looking for hope and looking for the silver lining. And that was my goal, is to provide hope, to provide some sort of stability to a very uncertain time and an uncertain world at that moment. So yeah, I was going full speed with 2 podcasts for quite a long time until the fall hit. And then it was like, all right, that stuff is documented. It's out there forever. And I even interviewed teens, which was just to hear their story was amazing. And then it was like full speed back into my normal groove in the fall. But 100%, Paula. I mean, everybody can see those interviews on my YouTube channel. So
I was going to ask. My next question was, where can we watch these?
Yes, if you go to queencitycollaborative.com, right on there it says podcast, and that'll take you to my actual YouTube channel to be able to see all the interviews that I had with business owners who are making a difference. But even on the on the About Me section of my website, it has all the lists of my services, all the things that I do, and it has links to every one of those particular formats. So if you want to learn about investing, there's my link to my firm there. If you want to learn about focus and my addiction prevention coalition, you can find my link there. If you want to read my book, I published a book in 2004, right after my son's father died in that car accident, which really encapsulated 10 years of the hardest years of my life, 14 to 24. It was basically a memoir of a lot of descriptive essays and poetry. That's also available. So just, explore the website, and you'll find hope. I mean, that's my whole goal, is just to inspire hope and motivate change. That's all I want to do. We live in a hard world. I've been through and I've seen some of the hardest things that a person can endure. And I'm living proof that you can make it, you can do it, and you can't do it alone. You do need solid individuals around you. And if you don't have that type of clan, NAWBO is one of them. So use us, take advantage of our empowerment and our love for each other. It's a great place to start.
That's so inspiring, Gwen. I just adore you, because I don't think some of our NAWBO sisters know this side of you. And that's what this Monday Member Spotlight is about. It's about allowing our NAWBO sisters to share their story, and you share your passion here. And you can see when somebody is passionate about something, they just light up. And certainly you have light up like a beacon of hope today. And it's just incredible to see. I just love seeing it. And what would you say when it comes to NAWBO? Because we've got so many different, we've got dinner events, we've got, our mixers that we have. What would you say to somebody, maybe a new businesswoman in the community, as far as coming into the fold, or maybe checking out what NAWBO is about?
Well, I would definitely say that, this is a place for you to grow, for you to learn, for you to be, like I said, empowered and motivated. I think that's probably even another great word, Paula, would be motivated. We motivate each other. So when, and I've seen what has come from our women business owners out of NAWBO throughout this dark time, where they had to close up shops and they had to pivot and rework their entire business. So I would say, if you're a new business owner, you need people around you that you can talk to, that you can support and call, when you have questions. This isn't a place where, everybody is high and mighty and we're living at the top of the ladder. We are, no matter where we are in our levels of business or what we do, we are all on the same level and we all want to help you. So I would say start with a start with one of our monthly meetings, make some connections, and then when you can, fit in those little mixers, because that's where you're going to really get to know your sisters on a deeper level. So start with the monthly meeting, go to these mixers, get to know who these women are, because if you look past maybe preconceived notions, and I know we've all done it, some women are just harsh on each other. This is not that place, and you're going to see that very, very quickly. So go to the meeting and then start getting into those smaller opportunities where we can get to know each other on a personal level. That's where the magic, I would say, really happens.
That's fabulous. I bring that up because for those of you that tune in every week or have tuned in fairly often, you always hear from me how much I love NAWBO and how much it's made an impression on my life and on my business. And I want you to hear that from someone else, that it has an impact. Let's talk about in our last few minutes. We've got about 3 minutes left. Let's talk about that female business owner out there who may be struggling because of it, maybe because of the pandemic. It just may be for whatever reason. What advice would you give them, Gwen?
Don't give up. Try everything you possibly can. Make as many phone calls as you can. Don't dismiss any lead, any conversation that you have with anybody. Utilize the resources that are available. However your business is, wherever you're at, take advantage of our people here at NAWBO. Call them, get to know them, because wherever you are, you can't do this alone. We all need each other. And this is a place in business right now where customer experience and, even my model is all about, decisions on what are you doing in your business that is going to be efficient, environmentally efficient, and what is your story? What's your narrative to allow your customers to experience not only a beautiful product or service, but a buy-in to a narrative that you're doing something more than just making widgets or providing a service. So I would say this is the time to really define who you are, why you do what you do, and incorporate your story into your business model. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be scared to share it. Make it a part of you. And if you need help, we have a whole group of women with a lot of different talents and services to be able to help you hash that out.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Before we wrap things up, Gwendolyn, please go through all the different ways that we can reach out to you, that we can contact you.
Sure. I love sharing my cell phone. I give it to the students when I talk to them during health classes. I text me, guys. So 716-444-6769. That's my phone number, 716-444-6769. Trust me, I answer calls that are for my car warranty all the time. That's probably why I get flooded. Call me. You can go to my website, like I said, queencitycollaborative.com, queencitycollaborative.com. You just search around. You'll be able to connect with me in a million different ways, like I said. So social media, YouTube, there's a contact me form. Just email me there. That's probably the best way to do it. And, Facebook, I'm on Facebook, Gwendolyn Bork. It's pretty easy to find me. And that's another great way to contact me. I'm constantly connected. So you send me something, trust me, I'm invested. Let's make it happen.
And we get to listen to your music if you follow you on Facebook too, right? Because Gwendolyn is also a musician. She's an amazing singer, performer. So we love that about you too. You've got 1 minute. Why don't you pimp some music or tell us about some of your music?
Sure. So I actually am a recording artist, and I'm the singer and songwriter, aka the Red Rebel is my alias for the band The Red Revolution. So you can find our music on iTunes, Pandora, Spotify. It's again, the band name is The Red Revolution. And I do a lot of singing, songwriting, just myself solo on Facebook, but there's a Facebook page for The Red Revolution where I'll post a lot of my little videos when I feel inspired. But I would just say, guys, support my mission, support what I'm trying to do here out in the community, because, like Paula, I love connecting with people. I love making a difference. And it's my goal to help you. It's not about money. It's about impact? How can we make this world a better place, and the world needs it? So listen to my music if you need inspiration. If you need inspiration, read my book or just give me a call, because I'd love to hear from you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Gwendolyn Bork from Queen City Collaborative. Thank you so much for joining us. Red Rebel. She is a rebel with a cause, I'd like to say.
All right.
We thank you so much for joining us today. Just remember, ladies, Monday Member Spotlight every Monday here on Facebook. And you can also watch the repeat over on our YouTube channel as well. Gwendolyn, thank you again for joining us this evening. And to all of you out there, stay safe, everyone. And we look forward to seeing you again right here on Monday Member Spotlight.